everybody, it's Jen from Frugal Upstate, and I'm here with a Frugal Update. It has been a really long time since I've done one of these, but I'm going to try to get back into doing them on a little bit more regular basis. Because besides seeing what I write, I think people kind of like to see what I look like and sound like and kind of get a better feel for me. So I am gearing up for spring here in the Frugal Upstate household, and even though it snowed this morning in April in upstate New York, I am thinking about my gardens. So I spent a lot of time reading about gardens. I brushed up again on my Carrots to Love Tomatoes, which is about companion planting, about what plants kind of inhibit other plants and what plants help other plants. And I'm looking at my garden plan, making sure I do that. I've read a lot of other resources. There was a Backyard Garden Homesteader book that was really, really good. There were a couple others I've read. I'll make sure that in the notes I put some of the titles. And I've also read this one, which is Fresh Food from Small Spaces. And this is really geared towards an urban gardener, somebody who's maybe working on a patio or on a balcony, but it's got some really great info in here. What I particularly liked is they have a tutorial in here on how to make your own self-watering planters out of like 5-gallon tubs. And I thought that was a really, really great idea. And I am going to be doing a comparison on how to, here it is. I don't know if you can see that, but it shows you how to make it out of a 5-gallon tub. And I'm going to do a comparison on buying self-watering planters versus making my own, because my tomatoes have gotten blight for the last 2 years, and I really, really want to get some tomatoes this year. I've also brushed up on my square foot gardening, although I don't do actual square foot gardening. I do intensive planting, and so some of the information in here is really good, especially on vertical crops and trellising. And if you're gardening in a small space, I highly recommend getting, there's even a newer edition out, Mel Bartholomew's Square Foot Gardening. I also ordered all my seeds. I did spend quite a bit of money. I like to use territorial seeds and pine tree garden seeds, which I don't have the book for. Another great one is Johnny's of Maine. I like all of these because they're all territorials in the northwest. The other two are in Maine and the northeast. And I figure if they say that their test trials on something did well in those climates, then in upstate New York, which has a very short gardening season, I'm likely to be able to do pretty well. So I've got some great things. I went kind of nuts this year and did things like purple carrots, red carrots, white beets, purple green beans, you know, some interesting things. So we'll see how all that turns out. Now I have started some of my seeds down in the basement. I started my tomatoes really, really early. They say 9 weeks, but honestly, if you do 9 weeks, you get something like this when you plant them out. And then you go to the Lowe's Garden Center or whatever, and you see these huge bushy plants, and you feel jealous, and you don't get any tomatoes. So I started my own seeds. This is a beefsteak style tomato, Brandywine, and if you can see, these are my Keurig little plastic pots. I punched extra holes in the bottom and I started them. So they got about this big, and then what I actually have done is potted them up to the next size. This one is actually my Roma tomato, which is a San Marzano, I think, tomato. And as you can see how much shorter this is because I potted it deep. It will grow extra roots off of the stem. So this will probably get potted up one more time before they go out in the garden. And I'm keeping those alive under lights in a special little greenhouse thing down in the basement, fluorescent lights. I also took slips from some of my hanging geraniums last year, and I rooted them about 2 months ago, and look at how gorgeous that looks. It's very healthy. They've gotten bigger. I actually grew them in a smaller container, and then I just potted them up, and there were tons of roots. So this should make me some nice geraniums later. I've got about 6 or 7 of these, and that should save me a ton of money as well. The other project, and I know I had pictures on my blog, is I started some wheatgrass, which I just started in a little pot and stuck in here. And I did these for Easter decorations. It smells like spring when you cut it. It's green, it's great, it stays alive for a while. Your cats, this is the same thing as cat grass. My guinea pig loves it. And I planted up a whole bunch of them to use at church for centerpiece decorations. So those are just in the sprouting stage downstairs, but they're going to make a lovely decoration. So that was a lot of fun. Finally, I have been working on my knitting. I got this basket. I can't even remember where I got this basket a long time ago. And every time I carry my knitting around in this, people comment on it. They think it's so cool that I carry my knitting in a basket. But honestly, the rigid basket keeps it from getting tangled up. So what I've been working on is a baby quilt. And what I'm doing is actually log cabin knitting. And I will link to a tutorial on that so you can see. But the great thing is that I've been using up all of these little bits of baby yarn left over from lots of different projects. And it's making a great girl's quilt. And I'll be able to give that away. And all I'm doing right now is just doing a little seed stitch border around the edge so that it doesn't roll up. And then I'll just weave in the rest of the ends, and I'll have a great blanket to give away as a gift. So, as you can tell, Things have been busy in the Frugal Upstate household. I'm still trucking on, doing frugal things, and I hope to hear from all of you in the comments soon. Take care.